Hi family, it's Marv, OneRepAtATime.net. New exercise tutorial. We're going to go over the one-arm dumbbell row. And oh man, can this get complicated really quick as far as all the different setups and variations. Now let me go over the different setups as far as stances, all the coaching cues, mental tips, hacks, whatever you want to call them. So pay attention to how I execute this exercise. Then what I highly recommend you do is, with me still in your ear, we're going to go through that first warm-up set of yours, or even a working set. If you're not really comfortable doing this exercise yet, let me coach you through the process. Make sure you're doing everything that I just showed. So one-arm dumbbell row, man oh man, let's go over, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the stance first and foremost. You could do them literally in a lunge. What's more common is seeing guys use a bench, right? So my off arm and my off leg are up with the arm that I'm rowing. Sometimes guys will do a square stance using their hand on a weight stack or a bench. Or another way to do it is, which I prefer actually, is to load up my right leg on my right arm. So if you're doing your left arm, it'd be your left leg. So load up 90% of my weight here, put that toe down just about 10%, bring a bench up, and row this way. Now, back angle matters, similar to any sort of chest press, right? The more upright I am, the more the emphasis shifts upwards my back. So, if I wanted to really hit my middle and lower lats, what you could do is, instead of going from here, you could really exaggerate it and get really, really close to parallel to the ground. And now, almost at a decline, I am really emphasizing my lower lats right here. So you can see I'm almost at a decline, right? If I have better range of motion because I'm really tight from leg day, same idea. Boom, upright, really upright, right? The more upright I am, I'm shifting the emphasis up. So that's something to play with. What I recommend you do is pick a certain angle for that entire workout, make a note of it, and change the angle for the next workout. Now, with all those stances, the biggest pitfall, other than the back angle, is rotation, meaning it is far too common for guys to be rotating their shoulders, especially as they go way too heavy of weight, getting that momentum going, rotating their shoulders as they fatigue, all of that. What we want you to do is find a stance that you can really lock down and keep those shoulders level. Now, at the bottom position, a little drop on the working shoulder is fine. Some people like that because they get a better stretch in the back and your lats, which is what we're targeting with this. But what we don't want is that cheating and really rotating to get the weight up. A rotation down to get a little bit extra stretch, so long as our shoulders are level while we're rowing up, I'm not opposed to. We don't want is this cheating movement. So play around with all those stances, figure out what's best. Personally, I like the loaded up leg on the same arm that I'm moving. I like my bench at an angle, about a 30-degree angle. Now, all my weight's on this leg, and it finds it really, really hard to rotate to cheat. So that is the stance that I prefer. Play around with it. I mean, I'll vary too, if I'm being perfectly honest. Another one I really like is this really deep, and then I can just really switch back, really back and forth really quick, make it really brutal. So figure out which stance works best for you. I mean, try around with them, but the one that you want is the one that you get less rotation, less cheating on. So now that you have the stance taken care of, what about the mental cues, the coaching tips, all that stuff? First and foremost, it begins with how you grip the dumbbell. I do not want you to do a closed thumb grip, I want an open thumb grip. So again, I don't want that. I want open thumb. Get whatever stance you like. And the coup de grace as far as tips. The weight of the path of the dumbbell matters. So right now it's below my shoulder, getting a good stretch. I don't want you to pull up to your chest like pretty much everybody does. I want you to pull up to your hip. Pull up to your hip in that reverse arc, almost as if you're starting a lawnmower. When you pull up to your chest, your bicep is taking over. So we can do this all damn day long. So the dumbbell's below your shoulder, pull it back up to your hip. Below your shoulder, pull it back up to your hip, resist the urge to rotate, back up to your hip. Now while we're there's there's another mental cue that I like to do. Now, yes, we want the dumbbell to land at our hip, but what's more important is how far back am I getting my elbow? A lot of people will stop short so their elbow is only in line with their body. We want that elbow as high up as you can because it really takes your elbow going past the midline of your body. So here's midline, I want the elbow back up. So by really pulling up as high as I can while the dumbbell lands on my hip, that's going to get a better lat activation. So most people stop short with the range of motion. They go way too heavy. They're not getting their elbow back. So to tie them in together, dumbbell, the weight is below your shoulder. Pull that elbow back up as high as you possibly can to your hip. The dumbbell will naturally land at your hip and back. Up and back. Now when you're at this top position, it feels awkward, but I want you to be squeezing your back and squeezing this area right about here. The more often you do it, the better connection you'll get to your back. So if you don't feel it the first couple times, don't worry. A lot of people have a really hard time feeling their back. Hence we do things like lat activation exercises. But give this a shot. Okay, so that is all the coaching, the cues. Let's do that first warm-up set. So go ahead, grab your weight. Pick your stance. Like I said, I'm going to stick with this loaded leg on the same leg that I'm rowing with. Hand is supported. Okay, we're going to grab the weight. Open thumb grip. Don't forget about that. Shoulders are nice and level. Dumbbells below my shoulders. Pull that dumbbell up to my hip. Get those elbows as high up as you can and squeeze. Bring it back down. Dumbbells below my shoulder. Bring it up. Elbow as high as I can back to my hip and squeeze. Dumbbell below my shoulder. Back up to my hip. Elbow as high as I can and squeeze. Don't rotate those shoulders, guys and gals. Boom, squeeze. Dumbbell below my shoulder, back up to my hip, elbow as high as possible, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Control it back below my shoulder, bring it right back up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Don't be rotating, especially as you get tired. Below my shoulder, back up to my hip, elbow as high as you can, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Two more. Below my shoulder, back up to that hip, elbow as high as you can, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. One more. Below my shoulder, back up. Don't rotate, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And there you go. So, multiple variation of dumbbells will change the emphasis of the exercise, can determine how much momentum you get, how much cheating you do. So find what works with you, especially in the beginning. Pick a stance, stick with it. Practice makes perfect. Perfect that for lack of a better word. And then move on to an additional stance. You can continuously play with the angle of your back to change the emphasis of the exercise. Just make a note for that. So here we go, guys. One rep at a time, one arm dumbbell rows.
Hey family, super excited to announce we're finally partnering with a local company, Common Good Craft Coffee Roasters. These come up with amazing specialty blends. Whenever you join their subscription service, which you could have delivered anywhere from once a week to once a month, use promo code ONEREP in all caps. Your first order is 100% free.